There's a moment documented across dozens of species where a wild animal in distress makes a choice that breaks every survival rule it was born with. It stops running, it turns around, and it lets a human touch it. Scientists have a name for what happens in that moment. They just don't fully agree on what it means. This isn't folklore. Wildlife biologists, animal cognition researchers, and field rescue teams have been logging these interactions for decades. And the data keeps turning up the same pattern. Something shifts in the animal the moment genuine help begins. The question is whether that shift is instinct, intelligence, or something we don't have a clean word for yet. Every wild animal runs a continuous threat assessment. Every second of every day, its nervous system is sorting the world into two categories: safe and dangerous. When a human approaches, that system doesn't pause to consider intent. It fires. Cortisol spikes. Heart rate can double in under 3 seconds. The body starts preparing to flee or fight before the brain has processed a single conscious thought. For most prey animals, a human at close range triggers the same neurological response as a predator mid-lunge. So here's what makes the rescue cases so strange. The human arrives, the threat system fires, and then, in some cases, it doesn't follow through. The animal reads danger. The animal should run. But something in the exchange, the stillness, the non-predatory movement, the lack of pursuit, starts producing a signal the threat library has never cataloged before. The brain searches for a match. It comes back empty. And in that gap, something unexpected happens. In 2005, a humpback whale was found floating off the coast of San Francisco, tangled in over 20 crab trap lines. The ropes had wrapped around her pectoral fins, her tail, and her mouth. She was exhausted. A rescue team entered the water and spent over an hour cutting her free and working around a 50-ton animal that could have killed any of them by accident. When the last line was cut, she didn't leave. She swam in wide circles around every single diver. One of the rescuers later said she nudged him gently before she finally moved toward open water. The marine biologist on the team described it as the most significant moment of his career. He didn't say why. He didn't have to. Here's what the research can tell us. Animals in distress show measurable reductions in cortisol when threat cues are removed and calm. Non-predatory behavior replaces them. Some species, dolphins, primates, elephants, demonstrate what's called social referencing, reading emotional states from others and adjusting their own behavior accordingly. A wolf or a whale can't understand the concept of rescue, but it may be able to read at a neurological level that the creature in front of it is not hunting. That is not nothing. A wildlife photographer in northern Canada documented an encounter with an injured wolf that had been caught in a trap. She approached slowly, made no sudden movements, and kept her eyes soft. Deliberate non-threat signal that experienced animal handlers use. The wolf watched her. It growled once, then it stopped. She worked for nearly 40 minutes to free its leg. When it was loose, the wolf stood, looked directly at her for several seconds, then walked into the tree line. She said later it was the eye contact that stayed with her. Not fear, not aggression, something she didn't have a word for. The survival cases are explainable. What's harder is the post-rescue behavior. The whale that circles, the wolf that holds eye contact. Elephants at the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust in Kenya have been documented returning to their human caretakers years after release. Navigating back across territory, seeking out specific people. Elephants have spindle neurons, the same cells associated with empathy in humans. They have been observed mourning their dead, returning to bones, touching skulls with the sensitive tips of their trunks. If an animal has the neurological equipment for grief, the question of whether it has the equipment for something like gratitude becomes genuinely hard to dismiss. Science will tell you this. Animals can detect calm intent, read non-predatory body language, and update their threat assessment in real time. What science won't tell you, at least not yet, is what happens in the space between the last rope being cut and the whale circling back. Whether that behavior is instinct completing a loop or something that requires a bigger vocabulary to describe. The data draws a line. right at the most interesting part. Maybe the more honest question isn't whether animals know when we're trying to help them. Maybe it's why we keep asking. Every culture on Earth has these stories: the rescued hawk that returns, the beached dolphin that waits. We collect them, we repeat them, which might say something about the animals, or it might say something about us, about what we're looking for when we look into the eyes of something wild and find it looking back. Whether what we're really recognizing in those moments is ourselves,